All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you on a Tuesday morning. Listen, we're gonna have a conversation about Tim Black. Tim Black is coming under fire. He made uh, a very controversial statement, and his statement was that the Democratic Party uses black women to undermine the community and to pander to get their votes. Now, people are disagreeing with him. They think it's some form of misogyny or some type of gender politic. But when you study history of the black community, all the way to the welfare system, when the welfare system said they wouldn't give you aid if a man lived in the house, and you know what I mean, then the feminist movement, then the statement that black women are the backbone of the black community. They changed the narrative that went totally against patriarchy and replaced it with a predominantly matriarch society in the black community with single mothers raising their kids. You know what I'm saying? But then Joe Biden and his administration and the Democratic Party created a lot of laws that targeted black men that helped decimate men in the community during the late 70s, early 80s. So these social constructs in the black community have been exploited by the Democratic Party. And whether you agree with Tim Scott or not, I want to show you a few things. And this first clip is about a black woman who took her son with her to vote. And I want you to check out the dialogue. Then I'm going to show you what Tim Scott said. So this is for fair usage of the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary educational purpose. Check out this first clip on their way back from the voting booth.
To do Biden. How we done lost a damn vote? We done lost a vote. That's gonna go to Trump. God damn. I'm worshiping these people like they're God. Ain't nobody worshiping them. But God damn it, Christ. We need somebody in there with fucking sense. You didn't even vote for Biden. You didn't vote for Biden at all. He vote independent. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know what I said do when you go in there. You go. That's what I did. No, you did. You go in there. This shit funny. I told you. I said go Democrat Biden. Now it's a fucking vote that we done lost that can fucking go to Trump. This is part of the politics. I will never do this again. He said he ain't gonna vote again.
Now, what you seen was a young man that went and rode with his mother to the voting booth. The women that you hear laughing are his sisters and his grandmother. His grandmother is on the phone. So here's a young black man, a grown man, that went to the voting booth with his mother and his sisters. And you see how they talked to him and ridiculed him about voting independent and who he should vote for. Now, I don't know, but as a man, he should have a right to vote for whoever he wants to. And what are they so adamant about voting Democratic for when the Democratic Party has been the most dangerous and detrimental party to the black community and the black nuclear family? So we're going to check out now what Tim Scott actually said that he's under fire for. Check this out.
Black women use as pawns by the Democratic Party.
Hold on, let me set this up for you. Because he's getting a lot of smoke for this.
The Democratic Party uses black people to do their dirty work for them, yet they only reward a select few. Tim Black, how do you know they only reward a select few? Because we are 13, 14% of the population and we own less than 3% of the nation's wealth. That's how I know. White women own more wealth in America than black women and black men combined. Do you have a retort? Do you have a retort? We've been here just as long as them, if not longer. I want to submit to you that the Democratic Party does use black women as pawns, and the Democratic Party does get mostly black women to do their dirty work and rewards only a few. They get black people.
Now, you may disagree with him, you know, and he's getting a lot of smoke for saying this, but it's ironic that you have Letitia James in New York leading the charge against Trump. You have Fannie Willis down in Georgia leading the charge against Trump. You have Maxine Waters in Congress. You have Cori Bush in Congress. You have black women as the face of the anti-Trump, anti-MAGA movement. And when you look at the community and the division within the community, you can see how it's easily exploited by the Democratic Party. Because the Democratic Party can come to an impoverished community and offer certain aspects of the community jobs while they hinder the progress of other aspects. So I'm not going to really point the finger here, but I'm just going to, you know, elaborate and think about what Tim Scott actually says and why he's under fire. I remember when Ice Cube came up with the plan for America, well, for Black Americans, and he went to speak to Trump's people, but Biden people wouldn't speak to him. He did an interview on BET, and it was black women. And they said, well, when you had your plan that you took to the politicians, where you took to Trump's people, was there specifically something in that plan for black women? And then the Ice Cube says, well, aren't black women a part of the black community, or are they something different or a different class? And all the women said, yeah, we need something separate from the rest of the community. We need something specifically designated for black women. And that was a strange statement when the plan was for black people. So it seems as if there is an effort in the Democratic Party to create a division between the black man, the black woman, and the black family. And that's what Tim Black is talking about. I'm gonna let you listen to some more of what he's under fire for.
People in general, but particularly black women. That's their favorite tool, because he don't have a base. Not really. Oh, except if you count black women. That is his base. That's his crew. Black women. I gave you Kamala. I gave you Kamala. Thanks. I gave you Kamala. I gave you Shelley Brown, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Yeah, Ketanji. The Democratic Party uses black women to do what? Beat up on black men. They use black women.
I want to say something about Ketanji Brown, whatever her name is, the Congress. I watched her be questioned in Congress, and they asked her, what is the definition of a woman? And it was a woman that asked her what the definition of a woman was, and she refused to define what a woman was. I mean, this mentality within the Democratic Party is perverse and divisive, and it has sinister connotations to it when you really think about it. You nominated somebody to the Supreme Court who can't even define what a woman is, and she's a woman. That stood out to me.
In order to control black men, in an attempt to control black men. I don't think it's working. It's no longer working, because when we get fed up, we get fed up.
So it comes down to the messaging is not making
Can I
it
just
to
say,
the
just
people.
very quickly, I know I have a legal note. 83% of Black registered voters identify as or lean Democratic. 81% of Black men, 81% are in the Democratic Party. So I don't want to hear anymore that Black men are voting for Trump. Black women resoundingly will show up for Biden, and they're going to bring their sons, they're going to bring their grandsons, they're going to bring their husbands, and the Black vote will turn out for President Biden.
Sonny, that's a reference to a poll that says he used to have a 92% following. So the,
Yes, but
the trend is down. I'm not saying they're going to go for Donald Trump.
Can I just point out before Sonny does her legal thing?
No, you can't. Remember, the premise of my show tonight is Black women are used as pawns by the Democratic Party. I see pawn activity going on right there. In that video, tell me what you see. I see Sonny saying, she said it extremely, very plainly, no hesitation. Whoopi didn't clean it up. None of the white ladies felt a tinge of anything. She said Black women will bring their sons. So their sons who are old enough to vote are what? Black men. Because kids can't vote, right? Got to be over 18 to vote. So these are grown-ass men. So they're going to bring Black men to vote and bring also their husbands. You know what you don't hear any other group do in America? Any other group. Not a single other group, man. I've been doing this 13 years, man. I have never heard white women say, we're going to make white men do shit. We're going to make our sons do X, Y, Z. I've never heard Asian women say, we're going to make our men do X, Y, Z. We're going to make our Asian sons do X, Y, Z for a political party. It's the only place it works, the only place it's allowed to work is with Black men, because Black men get no respect. No respect. We are treated as infantile, stupid, ignorant, in need of guidance from our much smarter Black women. There it is right there, man. It stings, don't it, Black men? Don't it sting? Because you know I'm dropping bombs right now. Of course, there will be. I'm not saying it's in the Tim Black Wolfpack or the Tim Black VIP section, because my people, they're not in their feelings. I'm saying this is what the Democratic Party does with Black women. Sonny Hostin is a marketer for the Democratic Party. Whoopi Goldberg, forget their titles, they're talk show hosts, whatever, man. These people are marketers, campaigners. That's their real job. Their real job is to move you to vote for Democrats. Excuse me. That's the true purpose. That's their real job. That's what they're really there to do. That's why everyone goes on the show. That's why they show up. Votes. Help Biden. And what I'm telling you is, Black men are tired of this. What I'm telling you is, when we say Black men are tired of it, this is why I had such a falling out with Tiffany Cross. This is why I said Tiffany Cross can get lost. You can't say Candace Owens should get lost without saying Tiffany Cross shouldn't get lost. If you want to see, if you undermine, I would not support somebody who undermines Black men like that. And then try to camouflage it by saying, I'm trying to help you. I'm telling you, this is a strong part of why Black men feel the way they feel about the Democratic Party and why Joe Biden is losing so many Black voters, particularly, and Black women are doing what? It looks to me like Black women are actually following their men. Because you got from 92%. Last time we checked, it was at 92% last election. Now they're getting sub 80. It's approaching sub 80 numbers now. From 92% of the black vote in 2020 to sub 80. That is a 12-point swing. I think it's going to get lower. I think we're going to end up in the 70s. I called this about 5 months ago. 5 months ago, I called this. Black men, that is. I said about 70% of black men are going to leave the Democrats. They're going to leave them up to voting. Now, I'm not counting all the black men who are voting. All those black men who are not voting that said choosing the couch, I'm not counting them. Because you don't count. When you don't vote, it doesn't, we're not talking about you. See, you're not in the conversation because we're talking about people who vote for Democrats and who don't vote for Democrats. Not people who don't vote. Now, they'll feel it if people don't vote. Don't get it twisted. In fact, one of the reasons why they say Biden won was because of the larger than usual turnout of voters. I think it was like 65% of voters, somewhere around there. When it's usually like late or high 50s. So it was like low 60s, if I'm not mistaken, low 60s, and it's typically high 50s. Okay?
I'm going to end right there, and you can go see the rest of the video where he goes and talks to the polling. But what the people were upset about is what he said as it relates to how the Democratic Party uses black women. And like I said, we don't do gender politics on my channel, but there is an enormous amount of pandering going on from the Democratic Party, and they definitely are putting black women on the front line in their Trump derangement. And it's systematic because you have a society or a community that is adamantly against patriarchy, with men being the head of the family, and substituted for matriarchy, with women being the head of the family. With every Democratic city having extreme violence with the children. I mean, you look at Chicago, Philadelphia, Detroit, California, Atlanta. Our communities are war zones with our children, losing their lives every day to gun violence, drugs, poor educational systems under this Democratic rule. And yet, we don't acknowledge that. We don't acknowledge how dangerous our communities are while we play gender politics as adults. You know, people have gotten to the point they say that if you say make America great again, that's like some type of racial thing. I mean, we live in America and we want it to be great. And people say, when was it ever great? I remember as a child being outside when all the men came home in Detroit from the factories, from General Motors and Ford Motor Company and Chrysler. Around 4:30, you'll see the men pulling up in their cars, getting out with their lunchbox, the kids playing in the street. You know what I mean? Neighbors looking out for neighbors. You know what I mean? You didn't see the violence. You didn't see the debauchery. Families had picnics and family reunions, and people went to church on Sunday, and these different things were going on in our community. And it was a great time for us coming up out of the civil rights movement. And somehow there was a monkey wrench through in our upward mobility. And you could decide yourself who you want to blame. But right now, it's obvious that there's a gender politic and there's a manipulation, there's some behind the scenes scheming to undermine the nuclear family and the structure, what little structure we have left in our communities. So I just wanted to show you what Tim Scott said, and if the backlash that he's getting is warranted. You tell me in the comments, is the backlash he gets warranted? Signing to you out of Detroit. This is Detroit's HPTV. Support Detroit's Black Thought and Action Collective. The Cash App is in the channel description. Salute to all patriots as usual. Keep your head on a swivel. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.